Hey guys, how you doing? Hopefully you're doing okay. Going to give you a very thorough overview of the article here. There is a link in the description. You may not find this topic that interesting, to be honest. You may not be that sympathetic. I am a little bit sympathetic towards the situation. So I'm going to give you an overview. This guy here, Jermaine Bell, 38 years of age, was on trial in regards to committing an armed robbery in December 2018. If I understand correctly, he's been incarcerated, he's been in prison for the last 3 years awaiting a trial in regards to the armed robbery that occurred December 2018. Now, if I understand correctly, the trial had essentially come to a completion, and the judge was about to make a statement in regards to their verdict, whether or not Jermaine Bell would be found guilty or found not guilty. That's my understanding. Hopefully it's correct. So what did this guy do? Well, he, for whatever reason, decided that it would be a good idea to drink a cup of bleach. So we're going to watch a short video which is going to show us that. He's going to drink a cup of bleach-like substance. So we'll play that for now.
He's been in custody for more than 3 years fighting the charges. And on verdict day, he sips what his family says was a bleach-type chemical from the cup. Hey, y'all call rescue, call rescue. Immediately, he becomes sick.
I just told you he ate a nap. Y'all ain't gonna help him get it out.
Hold on, Jermaine. So sick, he's taken out of the courtroom on a stretcher and taken to the hospital. He would survive, but serious questions. How could this have happened?
I see him drinking something that's not right, and that his attorneys are letting him drink it, the corrections are letting him drink it, and all of a sudden, I see him collapse. And I'm like, what just happened?
Reverend Jerome Stark.
I believe this gentleman here is the cousin of Jermaine Bell, the guy that was on trial and drank the bleach. And yeah, I mean, there are a lot of question marks, rightfully so, as to how the heck did this happen. We've got a corrections officer here with a bucket, and the guy with the bucket is saying, come on, buddy, ditch the liquid. But he's not ditching the liquid. So, couldn't there have been some other intervention as opposed to standing by and watch him drink it? We've got what appeared to be the attorney standing right next to Jermaine Bell, the defendant. They're not doing anything. I mean, I don't know. Couldn't they have done something? Maybe it's poor protocol to have done something, what are you going to do? Knock a cup of water out of his hand? Is that what we're going to do nowadays? We don't know. People don't know what it is. But I don't know. Maybe they did know that there was something up with it, because they all are focused on the defendant, which I guess is somewhat normal in a trial setting, a courtroom setting. But they are all focused on him. It does seem that there is this awareness in the courtroom that something isn't right, that there is something askew with the liquid that he's insisting on drinking. So there's a question mark as to how the heck he got this bleach-like substance into the courtroom. That's a pretty good question. Don't know what the answer would be. Could it have come from the jail? Again, he's been incarcerated for the last 3 years. Could it have come from the jail? Yeah, I mean, I guess they could certainly make a bleach-like substance in jail. I would have thought he would have been thoroughly searched prior to being allowed into the courtroom, but perhaps not searched thoroughly enough. Don't know how else he would have sourced a bleach-like substance. So that's one question. How the heck did he get a hold of this bleach-like substance and keep it in a cup? That's one question. Another question is, well, what the heck were the guys in the courtroom doing? Why wasn't anyone intervening? And again, maybe that's a little bit unfair. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what the protocol is, but I don't know. To me, the corrections officer there, I believe the guy in the green top, or guys, plural, they're corrections officers, I believe. Couldn't they have used a little bit of physical force on the guy to stop him from harming himself? And I say harming himself because ultimately that's what this is. This is someone, a defendant, someone that the justice system has saw fit to put on trial. I've got to assume, rightfully so, or I've got to assume that they had good reason to suspect the guy, and that they would have built a prosecutory case. He apparently maintains his innocence. What's my point? I'm not normally that sympathetic towards armed robbers. I'm not normally that sympathetic towards them, but ultimately there is some humanity on show here. This is a guy, he claims to be innocent. Whether or not he is, we don't know, but either way, innocent or guilty, we see him on camera essentially try to harm himself. There's a certain term which I'm not using specifically. He's trying to unlife himself, perhaps. I mean, thankfully it didn't work. We can see him being taken to hospital after he's collapsed. We're told within the article that he has survived. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's very sad. Suicide, I shouldn't really mention that word. Unlifing yourself is a major problem across the Western world, particularly with males. I don't know, man. I can't help but see a little bit of humanity here. So as I say, this article is a little bit different to most that I go through. It's a little bit unusual. Perhaps you're not interested. Perhaps you're not sympathetic towards this guy at all. Perhaps you think this guy just did everyone a favor. Perhaps you think he was trying to avoid being sentenced and being found guilty. But yeah, I think it's kind of interesting. So I'm going to wrap things up at this point. Take care.